The Couple Next Door, written by Peg Lynch and starring Peg Lynch and Alan Bunce.
Darling, please eat some breakfast.
No, I'm not hungry.
Well, you didn't eat any dinner last night. Really, you just picked at
Well,
it.
I can't help it. I'm getting appetite. What time is it?
7:30, and Betsy hasn't had her breakfast, and she dawdles over it. So, Betsy, for goodness sakes, get down here and eat, dear. School
yell
bus will
so,
be here,
honey.
and you won't be ready.
Mother ought to be here by 8 o'clock if she caught the early bus, as she said she would.
Now, look, when she gets here, don't start ranting and raving. Let her talk. I know you'll get all excited, and that will get her excited.
Now,
and I
just
suggest,
let me do
dear...
it. I'll-
Morning. Can I borrow
Who's
a
that?
couple of eggs?
Oh, hi, Eleanor.
Is that
Come on
Eleanor?
in. Sure. I've got plenty of eggs.
Good morning to you.
Oh, good morning. Excuse me, I'll finish my coffee in the other room.
Well, what's the matter with him? Am I suddenly poisoned or something?
Oh, no. It's nothing to do with you, Eleanor. He's rather upset.
What's the trouble?
Well, don't say anything about this to anybody now.
No, you know me. Who would
Well,
I tell it to?
well-
What is it?
Well, he might get sent to South America on business, so he wrote away for his birth certificate, and it arrived yesterday.
Yes?
Well, the birth dates, parents' names, and hospital were all correct, but his name was listed as A.Z. Percy Piper.
A.Z.? I never heard of a name like that.
No. The initials, just the initials, A and Z, and then the name Percy. A.Z. Percy Piper.
You mean his folks just really gave him initials?
Well, we don't know. He called his mother, and she got sort of hysterical that he'd found out.
Why?
We don't know. It's all very mysterious for some reason. She didn't want him to tell his father he'd found out.
Why? Wouldn't his father know anyhow?
Well, you'd think so. And since we always thought his middle name was Preston, naturally he's upset to think it might be Percy.
Heavens, yes.
Oh, don't let him hear you laughing. He might know we're talking about it. Anyhow, what's wrong with Percy?
Well, nothing, but it doesn't seem to suit him. What I don't understand
Well,
is...
there's no sense asking questions, Eleanor. We don't understand any of it either. His mother's coming over on the bus from Dodge Center this morning. Honestly, everything happens at once. I've got to get Betsy off to school. It's the first day, and I'm still trying to pack up to move, and now this.
Well, it sounds fascinating. Let me know what happens.
You know, convincing people that the world was round was no easy task back in 1492. In fact, if the man on the street had his way, the chances are Columbus would never have been given the ships that discovered America. But things have certainly changed, haven't they? Earth satellites, rockets, space travel, all these concepts were once considered fantastic. And now we talk about them as matter-of-factly as any other aspect of our daily life. It's not because we're more gullible than Mr. 1492. On the contrary, we can accept new ideas more readily because we're far more sophisticated than man has ever been so far. With radio, for example, with networks like the CBS Radio network, any one of us can go where things are happening while they're happening. In one evening, we can laugh with Broadway's newest star, be stirred by sensitive drama performed by a top-flight Hollywood cast, sit down with our elected leaders to consider a national problem, and feel right at home with a satellite expert being interviewed.
All right, now, look here, Mother. Here.
Darling, now, for goodness sakes, let your mother catch her breath. Don't light into her the minute she walks in the door.
Yeah, all right. I'm sorry. But, it's been 24 hours since my birth certificate arrived in the mail. I want an explanation of it. All right, now, Mother, here it is. Look at that. A.Z. Percy Piper.
Yes, I see it.
Well, is that correct? Is it?
Yes.
You mean I have no real name, in other words? Just two initials? A and Z, and then Percy? Is that correct?
I'm not going to talk to you at all if you're going to stand there and wave that paper in my face and yell at me.
Well,
Sit down.
Sit down, dear.
All
Please,
right.
Now, sit down.
All right.
Sit down.
I am now seated. Now, will you please answer me, Mother? Is that correct?
Yes, Sonny, it is.
Sonny. You see, I suppose that's why everybody in the family always called me Sonny. I never really had a name.
Of course you have a name, dear, just
But-
because it's not listed on your birth certificate.
A man wants to know that he has legally got a name. That's not unreasonable.
Why don't you let your mother explain? Now, sit down.
Well, of
Sit
course,
down.
he's getting me all upset all over again.
Oh.
I didn't sleep a wink last night. I always meant to tell you all about this, but there never seemed to be time for it somehow, and I knew that when I did, there'd be a terribly family row about it, and there will be.
Why?
I'd better start at the beginning. Your father and I could not agree on a name for you when you were born.
Well, I can understand that. We haven't agreed on a name for our baby, dear. So you can see your parents went through the same thing.
I thought you were going to name him Chauncey after Dad.
Well,
We are not naming him Chauncey.
All
No,
right,
I am
now
not
let's
going
not go into that again now. We're discussing something else.
Well, it's really not something else because actually Dad wanted you named Chauncey Preston Piper. Well, I didn't want you named Chauncey.
Well, then why are you all so insistent on our naming our son that?
Well, that's quite different. He's a grandson and we don't live together. With father and son, who are named alike, people start saying old Chauncey and young Chauncey. And I don't like that at all. And I certainly wasn't going to have you named Preston.
Why? It was grandmother's name, wasn't it?
Your father's mother.
Yes.
Well, I certainly wasn't going to name you after her family.
Why?
I just wouldn't, that's all. And that's all I'm going to say.
Mother, look, for Pete's sake, I am trying to find out.
Darling, now don't sit down. Now don't get excited.
All
Sit
right,
down.
I am
Sit
sitting down. Now,
right,
look,
sit down.
all I want to know, Mother, is the meaning of this birth
Well, I'm
certificate.
trying to explain.
But you...
You had me so upset ever since you called yesterday, and it just seemed everything happened at once. I was over at the Jensen sisters, and we were just sitting there talking when all of a sudden there was this terrible crackling sound. And my gracious, this lovely old apple tree of theirs just toppled over, just crashed to the ground.
My goodness, you mean there was a storm?
No, not a breath of wind. The sun was shining. Well, we all ran out in the yard, and old Mr. Tolferson came running, and, well, you know what he said it was? Carpenter ants.
No.
Yes, carpenter ants had apparently just chewed out the inside of this lovely old
Mother, for the
apple tree.
love of Mike, I don't care about carpenter
Dear.
ants and lovely old apple trees right now. I am
Well,
just
I
trying...
guess you would if it happened to be one of your trees.
Mother, all right, I guess I would if it happened to be one of my trees, but it isn't one of my...
Oh, you never have had the same
I mean,
feeling
there's no
about
use.
outdoor things the way your father and I have. Well, I remember when we lost that beautiful old oak tree in a storm.
Mother...
Why, you went right back to sleep. But your father and I stayed awake all night talking about it. We felt as though we'd lost one of the family, you know.
Yes, I
Well, you're
should say.
going to-
I think you can get very fond of trees.
Oh, we love that oak tree. We were just sick when we lost it.
Look, Mother, I love trees, too, especially family trees. Now, I would like to know about my name, if I could get back on the subject. Now,
Dear,
look...
dear, now sit
All
down.
right, all
Sit
right,
down.
I am. Now, Dad wanted me named Chauncey Preston, and you did not. Now, is that right?
Oh, yes, and we had a terrible quarrel about it. Really one of the only real quarrels we ever had. There hadn't been a boy in my family in years, and I wanted to name you. But then, of course, all my family had ideas about names for you, too. And they quarreled about it. Well, I don't suppose I should even use the word quarrel. Well, just let's say nobody could agree.
Mother, what did everybody want to name? I mean, Aunt Effie and all the rest.
Effie wanted to name you Burgess, after Uncle Burgess.
Burgess? Golly,
Now, dear,
Uncle Burgess said he never liked his name. He thought you should be named Marco.
Named what?
Marco. Oh, I remember
Did
so
you say
well.
Marco?
Yes, after Marco Polo. Well,
I should be named after Marco Polo. What in Sam Hill would I be called after Marco Polo?
You
for? What-
know your Uncle
How did he get in here?
Burgess. Well, he's a history teacher, and he always loved the story of Marco Polo. He even wrote a biography of him. You know, Marco Polo was a great adventurer centuries ago when he went to China.
Yeah, I know who Marco Polo is, Mother.
Dear,
All right, go on,
Well,
go
we
on,
all
go on.
said no. We thought that was silly. Then your great-aunt Bertha wrote to us, and you know, the one with all the money, and she thought you should have a biblical name, like Adam or Ezekiel. I think that were the names she wanted. But I said I thought if we did name you what she wanted, it would look as though we hoped she'd leave her money to you, and I didn't feel that we
Mother,
should...
I'm sorry, but what did you want to name me?
I wanted to name you William Henry Richard Albert de Percy Piper.
Oh, well, you see, dear, that's where you...
Wait a minute. Why so many names? I mean, well, and what is this Percy business?
Oh, my family all agreed on the middle name of Percy.
Percy? Why Percy?
That's our family name.
Mother, what are you talking about? I never heard of it.
Well, my family has never bragged about their ancestry the way certain other people do. I won't mention any names.
Now, look, Mother, I think it would be best if you just told me everything about all this.
No, I don't believe in talking about people.
But-
I'll only say this. Nobody could agree on what to name you. And it got so certain people weren't speaking to certain other people. And believe me, when you all live in the same small town, both families, things get pretty difficult when half of them aren't speaking to the others.
Yes, yeah, all right, so?
Well, it was your Aunt Effie's idea. She said, just give him initials. Then when he grows up, he can choose his own name.
But A and Z. Why the initial Z?
It wasn't really that. What we really meant was that you could pick anything from A to Z.
Pick anything.
Why don't I fix some coffee?
I
think we could all use some.
Pick anything from A. Is my family stark staring crazy?
Yes,
I
we
don't know what's
nearly
going on around
were.
here.
And finally, I didn't tell the Prestons anything about it. I just plumb had you registered as A.Z. Percy Piper. And I had you baptized the same way. And you can thank me that you carry the great name of Percy, inherited from William de Percy of France, who helped William the Conqueror defeat England at the Battle of Hastings.
I don't understand.
And that is the whole story why your birth certificate says A.Z. Percy Piper. Well, what your father and his family are going to say if they find out, don't tell them. If you love me, Sonny, promise. Promise you won't say a word to stir up trouble in the two families.
Now, look, I am not going to promise anything because it certainly doesn't sound like the whole story to me. Now, look here, Mother. Now, I want to know
I'm not going to say any more about it. But I don't believe in talking about people. Just thank your lucky stars you're a Percy instead of a Preston. Now I'm going to fix some coffee.
No.
You're right, dear. I think we can all use some.
Mother, wait a minute. Will you tell me what has the Battle of Hastings got to do with my name?
I don't think it's the Battle of Hastings so much as the battle of something else. I guess it's news to you, darling, but your mama has had mother-in-law trouble. Dear, it's late now. You better get to work.
I want to talk to Mother.
Well, leave her alone. She's lying down. She's all upset, and she's worried that if your dad finds out, he'll be upset.
Now, look, she's upset. Now my dad's going to be upset. What about me? What's he going to be so upset about? I just don't get this.
Because you were not named Preston after his mother.
Well, I'll be darned if I can see how all this could happen without his knowing it. I want to know why Mother did this and how she managed it.
Well, you can't talk to her now. She's gotten a migraine headache just thinking about the explosion in the family if your father finds out about it, because his mother will be hysterical.
Look, nobody thinks of me. My gosh, the one thing a person likes to know is that he has is a name. And what have I got? Legally, I've only got 2 initials and 1 middle name, Percy.
Well, go to work, dear, or you'll be jobless as well as nameless. And if we don't get our new house built soon, we're going to be homeless.
Well, all I can say is it's a good thing we got plenty of closets in that house.
Why?
Because apparently there's a family skeleton in one of them, and by golly, I am going to find out what it is.
Every weekday, Art Linkletter plays host to America on House Party. He never runs out of ideas for games and zany stunts. He always saves time for a down-to-earth chat with his visitors. Now, that means there's always plenty of fun afoot on House Party, and there's always plenty of human interest listening, too. Whether you're working today or just taking it easy in the shade, join us on CBS Radio when Art Linkletter invites you to be guest of honor at House Party. The Couple Next Door is written by Peg Lynch and stars Peg Lynch and Alan Bunce with Ruth Gates and Dorothy Duckworth and is produced by Walter Hart. This is Stuart Metz, inviting you to listen again tomorrow for The Couple Next Door.